Why, hello everyone, how are you doing this fine day? Hope you're enjoying your week. Welcome to another survival challenge, in particular, a dispatch survival challenge. That's right, game just finished yesterday. We got the whole story, and we're gonna fucking spoil all of it here. All of it, everything, the whole thing. If you've never been to one of my videos before, the basic gist is simple. We're gonna take Team Z from the series Dispatch, and we're gonna chuck them into other superhero universes and see how they might survive or do against the villains of said universes. Does that sound like fun? It's gonna be so much fun, but I'm wasting up your time. Let's get started. So first things first, we have to go over all of the team members in the Z team, every single one. Oh my god, it's such a big team. Okay, there's like 10 fucking characters we gotta go over, so let's get started. We'll just jump into it. First up, most important character, main character of the entire series is Robert Robertson, or Mecha Man. And yes, major spoiler, he is Mecha Man by the end of the series. He gets his mech suit back, he gets his little fucking astral pulse shit that powers the mech suit back, so he is back to being Mecha Man, which is particularly interesting for season 2 because it's possible that unless they do some God of War shit and make him lose his mech again, you should be able to do the dispatch missions with you also being there, like in the mech suit. It would actually make the Z team more of an actual team, or at least it would make Robert more a part of the team. Robert in season 1, since he doesn't have his mech suit, is stuck in the dispatch office on a computer just kind of ordering people around. If he has his mech suit, he can do the ordering and communication and sending people to different places in the mech suit while also being side by side with them, helping them do all of the fucking heroic shit that they need to do. Just saying, it could possibly improve the gameplay a lot in future seasons if they take advantage of the fact that this dude has his fucking mech suit. I want to play with Mecha Man in the Mecha Man suit in season 2. Let's just have that be the case. As far as what Mecha Man is actually capable of doing, he seems to be the probably second or first best hero in all of SDN. Like, the only character who even kind of competes with him is Blonde Blazer. Those are the two most competent and most powerful characters. Phenomenal Man is technically, I suppose, more powerful, but he's definitely not more competent and kind of a moron. Mecha Man is shown consistently throughout the entire season to be very good at his hero shit. He's incredibly intelligent, a master strategist and tactician, an engineer, a hacker, a master at stealth, a master martial artist. He's basically Batman with a mech suit. And as far as that mech suit goes, it's basically a tiny Gundam. Like, it's capable of doing basically anything it wants to. Like, we see the mech fight many times, and I don't think he ever uses the same attack twice with the suit. Like, any kind of bullshit fucking anime power you can think of that a mech suit would have, this mech suit seems to have. It has a fucking Dragon Ball Z spirit bomb and a plasma net and a barrage of rockets and 2 twin energy swords and a fucking ultimate, like, the cannon super punch that fucking, like, shoots people down to earth and causes massive explosions. It's really less of a mech suit you would see in a comic book and more of a mech suit you would see in an anime. The only thing it's missing is, like, the, like, you know, schoolgirl power-up thing where, like, there's the transformation, like, ooh, come here, fucking Megazord, and then it doesn't have that. But outside of that, it's basically just a fucking anime mech, essentially. It's incredibly powerful, capable of taking massive amounts of heat that instantly melt through steel beams. It's capable of taking a massive amount of punishment, from getting chucked through buildings to smash through concrete, to have huge explosions and lasers and all kinds of shit, and it takes a serious amount of punishment. It's a very powerful mech with a very competent and skilled person inside the mech, and he is the leader of the Z team. Next up on the team, we have Coupe, and I don't know what order I'm going in. I'm just kind of naming these characters as they pop in my head. Coupe's powers are kind of weird because I don't, like, get how they're good. Like, I don't really understand it. Her ability is described as she has Umbra kinetic flight and Umbra kinetic daggers that she can basically control, I suppose. I don't really get why these daggers in flight are better or different than normal daggers or flight. Umbra kinetic means darkness control. They can control darkness. So we could see this, like, when she takes her dagger and she throws it into the ground or whatever, it's like got some shadow shit on it. But what makes that dagger better than a normal dagger? I don't know. Maybe it's not. It's just a dagger that's made out of shadow for some reason. She is also very clearly physically enhanced, as we see in a prequel comic that she is capable of fighting against Punch-Up on par, and Punch-Up has super strength. She is also capable at the end of the series fighting against both Blonde Blazer and Mecha Man at the same time. Although she does have a slight power up there, it is very clear we can see through throughout the series that she has some form of physical enhancements. And I guess before I go any farther, I should probably talk about those prequel comics, because there are quite a few, and I don't know how much I should even pull from them, because they are constantly contradicting the actual series, like the actual game series itself. So a part of me is thinking that I just straight up shouldn't use them. For instance, in the actual game, we get a legit description of how Shroud, the main villain of the game, killed Mecha Man's father. He describes it to him as he shoots him 4 times, and this is then shown when he pulls out a pistol that has 4 shots missing, and then he plays Russian roulette with Robert using the final bullet that was in Robert's father's gun, and the only bullet he didn't use to shoot him. This is like a big part. This is the introduction to the main villain of the game. However, in a prequel comic, we actually see how Shroud killed his father, and he walks in and shoots him 1 time in the chest and walks out. He doesn't shoot him the 4 times. So, is that actually how it happened? In the game, was Shroud just full of shit? Did he just take 4 bullets out of his father's gun so he could fucking toy with them and play Russian roulette? He just wanted to play Russian roulette that bad? Or was whoever was in charge of writing the comic not actually, like, you know, paying attention to what was in the game? Like, they weren't communicating properly. That seems to be more likely than Shroud just being like, I'm gonna make up this fucking bullshit story about shooting 4 bullets in your father, but actually I just removed the bullets so I could play Russian roulette because I really, really fucking love Russian roulette. I don't know. It just seems less cool of an introduction to know that it's all, the whole story he's telling is bullshit, and really, in reality, he just like walked in, shot the dude, and left. But that's not the only instance of the prequel comic like just straight up contradicting the series. For instance, Punch Up in the series is fighting Gollum. Well, not really fighting. Gollum gets pissed at him and kicks him through a fucking door. He flies through this door. The door is glass, and then he has a piece of glass stuck in his arm. Very simple. He pulls out the glass, no big deal. However, in a prequel comic where Coupe meets Punch Up for the first time, Coupe gets into a fight with Punch Up and stabs him in the chest with her dagger, trying to kill him, attempting to stab him in the heart. And it hits his skin and can't even pierce his flesh. Punch Up then tells her that he's a lot more durable than a normal person, and she is literally not capable of damaging him. This is a way higher level of durability than what we see in the actual game, where just a piece of glass can accidentally get stuck in his arm after he's booted through a door. As I said before, Coupe very clearly has super strength. There's no reason why she shouldn't be able to stab Punch Up if just fucking glass can pierce him. Why can't her big ass sharp daggers made for assassinations not be able to do it? This just doesn't make any sense. It's very clear that his power levels, or whatever his power is different in the comic than it is in the game. These aren't the only 2 examples. There are quite a few more, including one that says that Tragstar is light speed, despite the fact that in the game it says that he's only about 50 times the speed of a normal person, or 50 times the speed of his normal speed, which I actually do think is not I don't think that's a good one, because I don't think that that's a legit like measurement that he says 50 times. My point is that there are inconsistencies throughout all of them, so I'm gonna kind of look at the comics a little bit, but for the most part, the game is the main canon. If they contradict, I'm not gonna go with the comics. I'm gonna be going with the games. All you need to know about Coupe as of right now is that she's an assassin bitch that has flight and has daggers with super strength, and is just like, yeah, she's a physically enhanced character with darkness, daggers, and flight. That's her whole deal. Since we've already kind of touched on Punch Up, let's just continue on to Punch Up. Punch Up is I don't know, fucking Scottish, Irish, one of the non-American whites. And he was gifted / cursed by a witch to have the strength of 10 men, but also cut his height in half. So now he's a midget with super strength. This is another one of those descriptions I don't really buy into, though, because he is clearly shown to be considerably stronger than just 10 men. We don't get a super clear indicator of just how strong he is. It's not like we see him, you know, lift the max amount of weight he can lift or anything, but we do see that he is capable of fighting and even overpowering Toxic, and at the beginning of the game, Toxic is fighting Mecha Man and capable of lifting with 1 arm and chucking around this giant mech suit that is bare minimum, like, I don't know what, fucking 5 tons, 8 tons, like, this shit is huge. It's a very, very large fucking mech suit. 10 dudes would not be able to lift this shit. And Punch Up is capable of just straight up manhandling this dude who was 1-arming that fucking mech suit. He's very clearly stronger than 10 men. He also has an extremely fast healing factor, as we see in that, you know, glass shit where he went through the door. When he pulls the glass out, and it heals literally in seconds. It's super, super fast healing. On top of that, he is stated multiple times to be considerably more durable than than a normal person. How much more durable, we don't know. Like I said, it's kind of contradicted in the actual game as compared to the comic. In the comic, Coupe just straight up can't fucking shove a knife through his chest, but in the game, it's very clearly shown that just being kicked through a door can make some glass shove into his arm. He's more durable, but how much more durable, I don't fucking know. Next up, we have Sonar, who is a tiny Batman who then turns into a big Batman. The whole gimmick of his situation is that when he's tiny Batman, just like a dude with a bat head, he's super fucking smart, and then when he turns into a giant Batman, he becomes dumb, but he's like really, really fucking strong. I would actually argue that he's not that smart when he's tiny Batman. Like, he's definitely clever, or he has some intelligence. Like, he's capable of, operating scams and cons, and we know that he's really good at stealing from people, and he's good at things like fraud and crypto fraud and these different types of things, and this does require knowledge for sure, but anytime we see him have to use genuine intelligence, he's generally shown to just lack common sense. He's very easily manipulated by the females around him because he cannot control his wiener, and overall just shown to not be all that bright. However, he still turns into a giant fucking, 8-9 foot tall bat monster. Most people don't want to fight a giant 8-9 foot tall bat monster. It's usually what one would consider a problem. So, it's not like he's completely worthless. I don't think you can be worthless if you can turn into an 8-9 foot tall giant bat monster. That's what I'm saying. Next up, we have Gollum, who is like a 7 foot tall giant mud monster. And as you would often note with giant 7 foot tall mud monsters, they're really fucking hard to kill. Like, we see in the series that he is capable of taking his mud and spreading it out. And there was, at one point, a building was on fire, and he spread the mud across the entire fire, covering every inch of it throughout the whole building with his body. So he's very clearly capable of manipulating the mud. It's not like he's just like this solid thing that can't move around and shape and change his form. This would mean that he would also likely be basically impossible to kill, as you can flatten him and smash him and mold him and fucking split him apart. And it doesn't really matter. He should just be able to go right back together because it's just living mud. He's also shown to be immune to most forms of damage. Like, he gets hit by fire, really, really hot fire. And I'll go into that when I get to Flambe, just how hot that fire is. But it doesn't do anything to Gollum at all. You also tend to notice that if you're a giant 7 foot tall mud monster, super strength also just kind of comes with the territory, so he also has super strength. That's it. When you're a giant bat monster and you're a giant fucking mud golem, it kind of just tells you what the powers and abilities are going to be before you even start talking. Next up, we have Flambe, the Afghani human torch, basically, whose powers confuse me to no end. I don't get how they work. I just kind of have to call them a plot hole. So if you play a game early on in the game, Flambe is like fucking with you, right? And you have the ability to throw alcohol in his face, and you do, and he lights himself on fire, and then his fucking eyebrows burn off. His eyebrows are gone now. I don't understand how this works, because we see throughout the game that when he flies around, he lights his whole body on fire like Human Torch, and it doesn't affect his hair whatsoever or his eyebrows. He literally lights himself on fire during combat. So why does this fire burn off his eyebrows? I don't get it. I've heard some people say it's because of the alcohol, but the alcohol wouldn't increase the heat of his fire. It would just make it spread a little bit more. In fact, alcohol started fire is less hot than the fire that we see Flambe can make. During the flashback, when Flambe was fighting Mecha Man, he was firing this giant fire beam thing at Mecha Man, and it was burning through Mecha Man's shield instantly at super, super fast rates. Like, crazy hot this fire would have to be to do that. Now, we don't know what Mecha Man's shield is made out of, but we have to assume that it is made out of something that you would make a shield out of, something that would be hard to burn or break or destroy, something that is a protective substance. He's not going to make it out of fucking aluminum. And to be clear, even if it was aluminum, Flambe's fire burning it this fast would be pretty impressive. So I don't get how any alcohol started fire would be able to burn his eyebrows off. But the just normal fire that he uses every day that burns through some kind of metal shielding of a Mecha Man armor doesn't do the same thing. I don't understand how this works. Now, after Mecha Man does do this, he does question why he's even affected by the fire. And Coupe mentions that the fear of the fire kind of makes him react to the fire, even though he doesn't really have anything to fear. But that doesn't explain why his eyebrows are burnt off. The only thing that I could say, other than just calling it a plot hole, the only thing that I could possibly think of is if Flambe's powers work the same way Spider-Man's powers do in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, where he did not want to be Spider-Man anymore power, ergo his Spider-Man powers went away. Like, his powers are controlled psychologically. So under normal circumstances, when he's like totally in control, Flambe is completely immune to fire. But in that one moment, because it just happened so quick and he was just like, he just got really scared real quick, he sort of, because he thought it would burn him, it did burn him. And it was all like a mental thing. That's not stated in the series. That's just the only explanation I could possibly give. Because other than that, you just have to call it a plot hole. And it would be a plot hole that is consistent through half the show because his eyebrows are gone till like episode 4 or 5. They're gone for a long time. And every time he comes on screen without eyebrows, you're like, how, why? I need an explanation, and the game just never gives it to you for some reason. Next up, we have Invisible, who physically is a normal person that knows how to fight and can turn invisible, but only when she holds her breath. But she also has asthma, which really doesn't come up, or I mean, it comes up one time in the entire series, and honestly, this bitch is like an Olympic level breath holder. There are multiple instances in this series where she holds her breath for bare minimum 5 minutes while exerting like a lot of physical activity, fighting people, running, jumping, all kinds of shit, all while holding her breath and invisible. We don't even see a single instance of her coming out of being invisible after this massive exertion of energy and being out of breath. She seems perfectly fine. The asthma's really not even much of an issue here. This bitch can hold her breath longer than most Navy SEALs. Like, it's incredibly impressive. It's really just used as a plot device one time and never brought up again. Next up, we have Malevola, who is a fine-ass demon bitch who can open up portals to teleport herself as well as other people to an unknown distance from her current location. She also wields a big-ass, probably magic sword of unknown origins that I think is a lot more interesting than people probably noticed when they started playing the game and saw the shit that it can do. Like, if you actually look at what the sword does when she slices and stabs things, it's pretty fucking broken. At one point in the game, she uses it to stab through this metal grate thing because she's trying to fucking stab Invisible for reasons. And when you look at the energy, like, it doesn't stab through. There's clearly like this energy that's around the sword that's on the grate. And I think most people would probably look at that and just assume it's burning through it. But if you look closely, it's not. That little energy that's around the sword going through the grate is the exact same as the energy that's around her portals when she teleports. And we don't really ever see her hit the sword against something and have it not immediately go through and have this exact same energy. I think this sword is opening up portals when it stabs through and slices through shit, meaning that the fucking sword can cut through space. It literally has durability negation. That kind of brings her power level up a considerable amount. She literally negates durability. She basically has fucking Virgil's sword from DMC. That's some wild shit. Honestly, I don't think there's any competition. Malevola is the MVP of Z Team, by far. If her sword really is making portals, which that is obviously what it is, it's exactly what it looks like, that means she has durability negation and the highest DPS of the entire team. The fact that she can open up portals means that she has the best mobility of the team, and the fact that she can have other people go through those portals means she works as not only mobility for herself, but support mobility for the entire team. And on top of all of that, she has healing abilities. She is capable of healing all of the other characters, giving her healing support abilities. How is she not the best? And she's fucking fine as shit. She's the best looking character on the team. Why can't you romance this bitch? Fucking Visigal and Blonde Blazer, who gives a shit about them? Look, I'm fucking protesting. Season 2, we need a Malevola romance. Seriously. What the fuck, guys? Why would you put a character like this on a team and be like, no, she's off limits? It's fucked up. Make us have to pick between these two C-class characters. And since we already mentioned her, let's go over Blonde Blazer. Well, honestly, we should just go over Blonde Blazer and Prism because they basically have the exact same powers. I mean, technically, the way that they use those powers are different, but there's no real reason why they shouldn't have identical powers. Both characters have powers to create and control light. It's just how they create and control that light is slightly different. Blonde Blazer is capable of using it to shield herself and shield others. She can make certain light constructs, although she generally doesn't, and she shoots light beams that hit people as if it was solid. Basically, she can use hardened light. When you look over at Prism, she does the same shit. She can create light, and she can choose to make it hardened or not hardened. I just don't really get why these two characters can't do the same shit. Like when we see Prism use her light beams, she doesn't use hard light when she does light beams. She just uses it to blind people. But we see that she can make solid shit with the light. She makes these little platforms that she walks on. So why isn't she using hard light when she's fighting to actually hit people rather than just blind them? Or, you know, maybe do both. Blind you, then hit you. She never does it, even though we know she can make hard light. But she does use it to make different constructs. But then you go over to Blonde Blazer, who we know can make hard light because her beams are hard light, and she's capable of making shields that defend not only her but allies. But that's the only way that she uses hard light. She should be able to make any kind of construct she wants. She just doesn't. She only uses these two ways. And before you say, yes, we know that Blonde Blazer is actually making light and not just some kind of generic energy, because she literally shoots her light beams through Prism's prism. Prism makes a prism, and then when it goes through there, it redirects the light, and it's like, yeah, it's very clearly light interacting with light the way that it's shown in this one scene. So they both have light powers. They can both make solid light, and they can both make not solid light. So why aren't they just doing all the same shit? They're both being massively held back by just not using their power in the same way that the other character does. They should have identical powers. The only difference between their powers, like obvious difference, that isn't just different because the writers decided to not let them use them that way, is that Blonde Blazer is clearly stronger and can use her powers to fly, and Prism can create light anywhere across the entire light spectrum, which Blonde Blazer seems to not be able to do. She can only make one type of light. But yeah, I mean, I don't really see a reason why these two can't team up and teach each other's tricks, and all of a sudden Blonde Blazer can just make a bunch of fucking Green Lantern constructs with her light beams, while Prism can learn how to fucking fly because she can already make light that floats in the fucking air. All she has to do is surround her body with it, and then she should be able to fly the same way that Blonde Blazer does. She just doesn't do that for some reason. Maybe she can't move her solid light through the air. It can only stay in one spot, and Blonde Blazer can move it. I don't know. Point is, their powers are super fucking, like, close. As far as how they actually use it, Blonde Blazer is basically, I guess, Captain Marvel. She flies around and shoots beams at people, and she make shielding, has super strength. That's everything she's got. When you go over to Prism, she's a little more tactical with it. She more so uses her powers to blind her enemies, or to create like solid copies of her or her teammates to distract enemies, or to just straight up have an army of dudes fighting by her side. Because again, she can because they're hard that way. She does make copies, and those copies are solid, so she can move the solid light around. It's not that it can't move. So yeah, what the fuck? Why can't she just surround her body in light and fly just like Blonde Blazer? This doesn't make sense. Other than physical enhancements, there's really no reason why Prism doesn't have literally every single power that Blonde Blazer has, plus more. She should be a more powerful version of Blonde Blazer that doesn't punch as hard. Step your shit up, Prism. What the fuck are you doing? So the last two members of Z-Team will just go and we'll knock them out together. Phenomenon, the only Superman-like clone that has a worse name than Homelander, is Superman. He has all of Superman's powers, except I don't think he has he's got like the flying and the punching stuff. He doesn't have like the eye things and the breath things, and he doesn't have to do all that. He's very clearly extremely fast, as he's capable of traveling across the entire city faster than any other character. He also doesn't really need rest at all. Like his rest takes like 2 or 3 seconds. It's super fucking quick, which means he probably has insanely high stamina. Or if he doesn't have insanely high stamina, he comes back from being tired quicker, which is probably better actually. He's also very fast, as we see at one point he is sitting on the moon, and if you know how far the fucking moon is, you know that should take a while to get there. You can actually fit every single planet in our solar system between Earth and the moon. It's super fucking far away. The fact that Phenomenon Man has no issues just flying to the moon, chilling there for a bit, and flying right back in a couple of minutes means this dude is fast as fuck. Way too fast for a villain like Shroud to actually be a threat to him, just to be clear, but the series kind of forgets about that during their fight. He's also shot by Shroud by a giant laser that flings him into space, and he comes back a couple minutes later totally fine, so that laser didn't seem to do anything to him. They say multiple times in the series the Phenomenon Man is the strongest hero on the planet, although I mean, based on what we see, it seems like Blonde Blazer is more powerful, but hey, you know, he was depressed. What can you do? Overall, he's definitely one of, if not the most powerful character on the entirety of the Z team, as compared to the next character, Waterboy, who is completely fucking worthless. He can't do anything right. He sucks at everything. He is a janitor who could shoot water, and that's it. There's nothing else to say about him except that he is purposely disgusting. There are multiple times this game during his janitoring where he shoots water out of his mouth to clean things, but we see at the end of the game that he can shoot it out of his hand just fine. So why is he doing that? Why is he doing it out of his mouth? He's just being gross for no reason. It's fucking disgusting. He's gross and weird. Why would you pick him over Phenomenon? Because he's nice? Who gives a fuck? He's not nice. He pukes on shit to clean them unnecessarily. And Flambe was right. A lot of people were shitting on Flambe because Flambe was being mean to poor old innocent Waterboy for throwing away his lunch that was a perfectly good fucking lunch. You're telling me that you wouldn't be pissed off if some asshole came up and threw your lunch that you were looking forward to in a trash can? Why would you? It's full. No one, it hasn't even been eaten out of yet. How do you do that on accident? Fuck you, Waterboy. And that's it, everybody. We did it. We did all, 11 members of the Z team? Good. We got through it. I actually am not 100% sure if Blonde Blazer should count. I wasn't sure, but I think it would be weird to not include her. She's very heavily involved in the Z team throughout the entire game. She makes several major decisions involving the Z team. She helps dispatch them at one point, and when it comes to actually on the field fighting, she only fights for a couple minutes less than Robert does, and you clearly can't take Robert off the team. He is a member of Z team, so I put her. I think she counts. But yeah, that's it. So let's get to the actual fucking challenge, shall we? If you're enjoying the video, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, join the membership, and hype the video. All of these things help with the algorithm and to make this video reach other people, and that's really cool because YouTube is being a fucking dick, and it's only showing AI videos to people, and it's taking away the viewership of people who are actually real and trying to, make videos and enjoy shit. Unless you want YouTube just become nothing but fucking AI slap, try do that kind of stuff. Support these types of videos, not just on my channel, but on everybody's channel, because all of us are taking hits. I have talked to some major fucking YouTube creators, people who are a lot bigger than me. I'm talking about hundreds of thousands, even millions of subscribers, who have all told me the same shit. They're doing very poorly right now. Everything is dropping, me included. So please support these channels, support my channel, support the other channels that you enjoy, and stay away from the fucking AI bullshit, because I just got here and I don't want to fucking go already. Shit is so frustrating. First of all, on chopping block, we have the Boys universe. They are so fucked. Yeah, there's no point in even wasting your time with this. The Boys is a universe, whether you want to take the comic universe or the show universe, are just nice. They're bad. They're weak. They're not strong at all. The absolute most powerful character in the entire universe is Homelander, and his absolute strongest feat is in the comics, which is more so than it is in the show, is him grabbing the wing of a jet and then swing it to hit a dude with it. Which, yeah, it's, cool, I guess, but that more or less only puts him a little bit over someone like Toxic. That wouldn't put him anywhere near someone like Blonde Blazer or Mecha Man or anywhere near Phenomenon. It's not even close. He's not similar to them in strength. He's not similar to them in speed. As it is specifically stated multiple times that A-Train is the fastest person on the planet, and we have a legit calculation of how fast he can go. As the show gives it to you, it's 830 miles per hour, which is just barely faster than Mach 1. That's so unimpressive when compared to basically any of these other universes. And yeah, some people might say, well, that's probably not true. Homelander's probably faster, and that's just a part of the whole corporate lie thing. But, we don't see Homelander do anything that contradicts it, so you would just be assuming that. And even if he was faster, we don't have any evidence of him being shown to be much faster. There's literally nothing. Mach 1 is fucking shitty. And then some other people might say, well, we see when he's fighting Starlight that he can go so fast, the light beams are traveling, and he's definitely going at least somewhat the speed of light. But my response to that would be, we don't even have a whole lot of evidence that Starlight's beams are actual light. And even if they were, they don't behave like light. They have mass, which light does not have. They don't look like they travel anywhere near the speed of light. They don't behave in any way like light does. So why are we assuming that they travel at light speed? Just because her name is Starlight? That doesn't make any sense. Why would you do? I mean, think about it. Based on what we've seen Homelander get his ass beat by, I mean, fuck, Huey, when he got the fucking powers, was able to beat the shit out of Homelander. We've seen Homelander get severely damaged by being punched into a brick wall. He didn't even go through the brick wall. He's not that durable. If Starlight had the ability to fire blasts that had mass and could physically damage people, but she was firing them at light speed, she would instantly one-shot Homelander based on the durability that we've seen throughout the rest of the series. There's no way these things are traveling at light speed. And Homelander just kind of fucking sucks. Really, the biggest challenge that Z-Team would face normally if they were to come into a world like The Boys is all the corporate bullshit, because the fact that all of the villains of the story are technically quote-unquote heroes and nobody really knows that they're villains, so Z-Team just wouldn't be aware of the villain's existence. But that's only the case for like a season and a half, because The Boys is written super shitty, and now they can just do whatever the fuck. I mean, after a while they can literally just do whatever they want and not get in trouble for it. Homelander just straight up murders an innocent person in the street in broad daylight on national television. No downsides whatsoever, no consequences, police don't care, nobody cares. And yes, I understand that this scene was a reference to something that Trump said. The difference is that Trump said it. He didn't fucking do it, because if he did it, he'd be arrested immediately and thrown in prison. He can't actually murder something in broad daylight on national television and get away with it. That's not how society works. When it happened in The Boys, it was fucking stupid. It was bad writing. It makes no sense. Characters might as well just do whatever. You can't have Homelander go out and murder dudes in broad daylight in the middle of the street, no one do anything about it, and then not immediately have him go and kill all his enemies like The Boys themselves, because now there's no consequences for his actions. He has no reason not to murder them. He has no reason not to murder fucking Gus Fring or whatever, the dude who owns, like, why wouldn't he? He could easily dominate the entire universe because nobody cares what he does. Where is the stakes of this show? Things just happen because the showrunners want it to happen for stupid it's dumb. The fact of the matter is that if you took Z-Team and you stuck them in The Boys universe, they actually have genuinely good heroes on that team. If Homelander just goes out and murders a bunch of dudes in the street, and there's all this massive corruption in the hero system, characters like Blonde Blazer, Mecha Man, and Phenomena Man are going to have issues with it, and they're considerably stronger and faster and overall just more powerful than the top tiers of The Boys universe. Homelander will no longer be this godlike being that feels like he can do whatever he wants, because he will be a casual fucking issue for them to deal with. They would literally one-shot him. There would be no struggle whatsoever. And because by the end of season 1, basically the entire team are genuine good heroes, they're not going to be able to be drawn in by the corporations in The Boys universe to try and take advantage. They're so clearly, openly evil in The Boys universe. It's only because of bad writing that everyone in that world isn't aware that they're literally all mass murdering psychopaths. It would take the heroes on Z-Team like, what, 20 minutes to figure this shit out and then immediately go and wipe out all of the enemies that they have? God, this shit is so dumb. The Boys is such a poorly written shit. It's so bad, guys. Why are people still watching it? And the comics aren't any better, by the way. Next up, we have the Incredibles universe. And this is just gonna be slightly, like barely harder than the Boys. I mean, the people that they have to go up against are stronger than the Boys. Like the Omni Droid, I think would solo the entirety of The Boys universe, for sure. You also, the fact that the villains are a lot smarter in Invincible than they are in The Boys. They go about things in a much more intelligent way, and there's a lot of technology that's like, just like way more of a fucking problem. Like even Underminer's little fucking car thing at the beginning of Incredibles 2 that just starts like flying down. That's gonna be hard for them to stop. It's not gonna be the easiest thing in the world. I mean, maybe Phenomena Man's strong enough that he could just like grab it and stop it, but again, we don't really know how strong he is. But that's gonna take some team coordination to stop that kind of shit. That right there is gonna be harder than anything to deal with in The Boys. But outside of that, there isn't really a whole lot that like Syndrome and shit could do that they don't have a counter towards. Like for instance, what Syndrome did in the first Incredibles movie is that he went and he told a bunch of superheroes like, hey, superheroes, being superheroes is legal. Why don't you come over here and do this whole superhero thing with us, blah, blah, blah. And he came over and then they fucking killed him with the Omni Droid. That's how it worked. But it doesn't really matter how that goes down. It's going to eventually come to the point where Syndrome is kidnapping the hero, which is undone by the fact that the heroes have trackers on them. That's literally how Helen finds out that Bob was taken, because he has a tracker on his super suit that Syndrome was not smart enough to get rid of or check to see if he had. So Helen was capable of locating him. All of the characters on Z Team have trackers. They always know each other's locations, and they have communication devices capable of communicating anytime they want. If this does happen and one member of the Z Team is approached by Syndrome to come on and do like this stuff, and he does it, you know, out of the goodness of his heart, whoever he chooses out of the Z Team to go over there, at any point they could just like communicate to the other team members like, hey, this dude's like trying to kill me, and boom, problem solved. And then they can just track him and they'll be there. And in terms of will they be able to overcome Syndrome, yeah, and the main reason for that is he's only got 2 hands. The Z Team has way too many people. Gauntlet shit is cool. Like, he points his finger and then he can freeze people. I don't even know what that is. Like, I don't know how it's freezing people. It's some kind of stasis thing or something. I don't know. But it freezes people. Super useful. But he only does it by pointing at people, and he only has the 2 hands. We don't even ever see him using it with 2 fingers on the same hand. He just does it with 2 pointer fingers, and he only has the 2 pointer fingers. So if he's being attacked by 10 fucking people, or 11 fucking people if you're including Blonde Blazer, he doesn't have enough hands to stop them all. So he can stop 1 or 2 people, and then the other ones are gonna beat his ass. It's gonna be super easy. The only real physical threat he's gonna have to deal with is the Omnidroid, which has a remote control system. Like, there's a remote, you can control it, there's like a Wi-Fi system connecting it, which means that Mecha Man could hack into it and shut it down, and it's not even gonna be a threat. Yeah, I don't really see this doing anything. I mean, if we go on to Incredibles 2, there's the villain who can like mind control people by making you look at goggles, which might be a thing, you know, that might be a fucking issue maybe, if you can get the goggles on their faces, which is probably unlikely. Also, can you control a mud golem person with mind control goggles? He doesn't even have a normal brain. It's made of mud. How would you be able to control a mud creature with like the visual? Like, I don't even think that would work. Also, on average, the characters on the Z Team are considerably more powerful than the Incredibles are. So even if that wasn't the case and it could control everyone, the odds of them actually being able to get the goggles on these considerably more powerful characters' faces is gonna be unlikely. And if they do control 1 or 2 or fucking half of them or whatever, all of the other ones are gonna know, because they know of their locations, because they all have trackers on them. They're gonna know something is up. They're not gonna be able to be communicated with properly because of the fucking control shit. And they're gonna start going in directions that's unusual. I just don't think that this is gonna work very well. Regardless of which one you put them in, I think Z Team's got this shit in the bag. Like, I don't think it's much of an issue. Next up, we have the Venture Brothers universe. Okay, I'm just gonna be real with you. This one is not interesting because, like, who would fight who or who would overcome who? That's not what's cool about this. What's cool about this is the general makeup of the world of Venture Brothers and how Team Z will interact with that world makeup. Basically, in the Venture Brothers, a long time ago, there were heroes and villains, and these heroes and villains did basically whatever they wanted. Heroes killed villains, villains killed heroes. A lot of people got hurt, a lot of innocent people were murdered. Villains would constantly be brutalized by stronger heroes, weaker heroes would be brutalized by stronger villains. It was a big fucking problem, and the whole world was in chaos. So as a fix to this problem, the Guild of Calamitous Intent, along with some other interested parties, came together and created a bunch of rules that people need to follow so all this shit doesn't constantly hit the fan, which it was doing basically every single day. In the current day in the Venture Brothers universe, there's something called an arching system, which essentially you'll have certain villains that are a certain threat level, and those villains will be allowed to arch certain heroes of an equivalent threat level. There was also a bunch of other rules that were created to protect both villains and heroes, and really the world as a whole, from falling into complete fucking chaos. Like, for instance, just to give an example, if a villain wanted to go after a family member of one of their enemies, they can do that, but there's all kinds of crazy rules around like how you would go about doing that. For instance, you can't just show up and kill all their kids and their fucking wife and just like murder their whole family. You can't do that. There's rules of this shit. You can capture them and then you can lock them up somewhere, and you have to give the hero a chance to actually save those people. There's also certain rules about like when you can attack people. Heroes can basically call off of being heroes for a day. Like, if they have something important coming up, like a wedding or whatever, they can actually call up the guild and be like, hey, you can't attack me on this day because I have this thing going on. So it stops villains from like attacking the wedding or causing problems that endanger lives unnecessarily. And the heroes have rules too. And basically, if anyone breaks these rules, whether they be hero or villain, the Guild of Calamitous Intent and other interested parties will come out and fuck them up. They could kill them, sentence them to death, torture them, do all kinds of horrible shit to them. And this keeps everything kind of working relatively well and stops the entire planet from just blowing up in this massive war of villains and heroes just slaughtering each other all left and right. Whether or not the Z Team are actually successful in the Venture Brothers universe is really going to be how willing they are to go along with this system. If they decide not to, and there's good reason for them to not, because the system basically ensures that you will never have good triumph over evil, there will always be evil and good constantly fighting with each other. So it makes sense that someone would want to go and kind of topple that over to actually eliminate all the corrupt shit that exists within this world. But if you do that, you're going to bring down the full force of the guild on top of your head, which is a very powerful and very dangerous force to be fucking with. And yes, quite possibly too much for Z-Team to handle. Because in the Guild of Calamus and Tense and other interested parties, there are some very, very brokenly powerful characters. There's a character named Toaster Face in this universe that's basically Pinhead and can manipulate the very fabric of reality and is like master of fear. There's a fucking space god creature that's capable of blowing up planets. There's the investors that are basically unkillable reality warping gods. There's Henry Killinger, who's so powerful that he's capable of single-handedly taking on all of the investors by himself and wiping them out. There's just a lot of different stuff here that I don't think that Z-Team can deal with. So it'll really genuinely just boil down to, can you get with the program or not? If the answer is yes, then they'll be fine. They'll just get their arches just like every other hero does, except, you know, they'll get a team of arches because they themselves are a team, and then they'll just have to arch that team. They can stop that team from doing evil shit, and that team will come after them to try and kill them so they won't stop stopping them. So they can stop them from stopping the arches from arching. You get what I'm saying, right? There's only going to be one group of villains that are allowed to actually stop. You can't go arching a bunch of other people's villains. That's not how the system works. If any of them decide to do that, like something horrible is going out in the world, and they decide to fuck off and, you know, go deal with that thing that's outside the parameters of the arching that they were allowed to do, they're going to piss off the guild and the other interested parties, and it's going to be a fucking problem, and they're going to have to deal with a lot of shit, which will likely lead to their deaths, with the exception of maybe Phenomenon, probably, or no, because Phenomenon, we don't know what Phenomenon can do. There is one statement by Phenomenon himself that is mostly stated as a joke, where he could possibly destroy the sun and with it the entire solar system.
It's very abrupt. One moment we were savoring uni straight from the urchin, next moment I'm contemplating flying into the sun, absorbing all its energy and casting this planet into infinite darkness so that I never have to see her or anyone else ever again. Maybe then I would be free of the torment in my soul. Maybe then I could quiet my mind to these destructive thoughts.
But when we actually see him fight at the end against Shroud and all those other characters, he's very clearly not that powerful. Because if he was that strong and that fast and that amazing that he could just fly to the sun and immediately destroy the whole solar system if he wanted to, why was Shroud a threat? Shroud's just in a big fucking mech. Like, if we're gonna say that Shroud was a threat to him, which he clearly was, as he was able to completely contain him as well as blast his ass into space. To be fair, it didn't actually do anything to him. He was perfectly fine after he came back from space. But like, you'd think if he was strong enough to blow up the sun and the entire solar system, Shroud would have been one-shotted and there would be like no problems at all. It would have been simple. You know, I don't think that just because there's this funny joke that he says he'll destroy the entire solar system because he's super depressed, that we should take that totally literally, when if that was the case, he would have just easily soloed all of the problems that all of the Z-Team had throughout the entire season. I mean, but he clearly didn't do that. So no, I think as of right now, I mean, we can clearly see that he's the strongest, or at least, you know, probably the strongest. They say he's the strongest. I actually think that Blonde Blazer is very clearly shown to be more capable, but whatever, it's fine. It is what it is. He's strong enough. I don't think there's any evidence in the series that he would be able to deal with characters like the Investors or Henry Killinger, considering that they can't die and they have so many crazy hacksy abilities that would likely work on Phenomenon, and Phenomenon probably couldn't even put his hands on them, as they could literally just phase through objects or mind fuck him or teleport him somewhere else. Like, they have all kinds of crazy powers. It'll be bad. Basically, all of Z-Team would die, and he would likely die, and Blonde Blazer would die, and Mecha Man would probably all die if they went up against the system. So, you know, just don't go up against the system and you'll be fine. Flip a coin. You think they'll go up against the system? They dead. You think they won't go up against the system? They'll be fine just like everybody else. Last up, but certainly not least, we have the Invincible universe. And I always hate talking about the Invincible universe if you're not talking about like one specific storyline or one specific moment, right? I'm okay talking about, say, the the Invincible War, when all the marks show up, because you're just comparing it with shit that happens in that one arc. You're not comparing it to everything else. When you take the world as a whole, it gets very iffy because the fucking power levels just aren't consistent anywhere. I mean, you can't look at episode 1 of Invincible where Omni-Man fights the Guardians of the Globe, and then that episode that happens just later in that exact same season where he literally wipes the entire surface of a planet with life just by flying across it, and say that those are the same character's power. Those are two vastly different levels of power that we're seeing there. Clearly it is. Like, seriously? Now, under normal circumstances, if you just put the Z-Team in the Invincible universe, they'll do fine, because most of the worlds of Invincible is actually pretty shitty. They're not very strong. I think that Z-Team would wreck the vast majority of Earth in the Invincible universe. But if you start putting them up against, like, the actual invasion of the Viltrumites, Omni-Man's showing up, causing the complete destruction of whole cities, and the Invincible War with all the different Mark variants showing up, and all of their wildly different power levels, and Conquest showing up, and all the shit that he does, and then eventually you start getting into the comics with them destroying a fucking planet. It's just like, I don't know, I guess it depends on what the writer feels at any given time. I mean, shit, you had Rexplode be able to kill a fucking Mark variant just with a small explosion, which likely wouldn't be able to kill a large number of the roster of the Z-Team. And then you have shit like Conquest, where he's clearly shown being pretty fucked up by punches that just send you through buildings. Again, I don't think Phenomenon would have issues with that, but then apparently at some point in the future, he's supposed to be buried underground in this giant, like, safe tomb metal thing that's like 400,000 tons or something of metal that's keeping him trapped, and he just easily breaks it. I mean, like, one of those versions of Conquest is getting fucked up, and the other version is not. So I don't know. Who fucking knows? I have no idea. Is it possible that Z-Team would be able to deal with the Invincible if we take Invincible at their absolute strongest with all of their greatest feat and just kind of ignore all the weaker shit? No, not really. Not unless season 2 of Dispatch reveals that Phenomenon actually can destroy Sun. Because if that's something that's ever actually revealed, or we actually see him do that, like him moving a moon out of the way or fucking destroying a planet, or I don't see this series being the type of series that's gonna do anything like that. But if that's something that he's capable of doing, then yeah, he's just a Phenomenon by himself, souls the whole fucking Invincible universe. There's nobody who can do anything close to that. But if that destroying the sun joke was indeed that, just a joke, and Phenomenon's strength is pretty strong and pretty fast, but that's about it, we don't really have a legitimately, like, good measurement on just how strong or just how fast, then yeah, the strongest of the Viltrumites are considerably stronger than anything we've seen Phenomenon or Blonde Blazer or Mecha Man really do. I think that those two, and possibly even some of the ones weaker, would be able to kill some of the Mark variants during the Invincible War, because even the main universe version of Mark isn't really that impressive as of now. Like, we see him lift up a big ass iceberg, and that's the strongest thing we see him do. And if I were a betting man, I would say that's probably something Phenomenon can do. I mean, just the fact that he can fly across the solar system and across the other galaxies at the speed he would need to be going, and the amount of force that would be pressing down on his body, that right there is just way more impressive than anything that we've seen this version of Mark do. And if we're going to assume that Mark is one of the stronger Mark variants, the main universe Mark is one of the strongest Mark variants, then I think Phenomenon would be able to deal with that situation. Blonde Blazer probably would too, and honestly, I think Mecha Man would likely also. But if we're going under the assumption that Omni-Man and Conquest and all these characters are fucking, like, near planet busters or even country busters, that's a totally different situation. There's nothing in Dispatch quite yet that we've seen that isn't just an offhand joke that we have no evidence of that says that that would be possible. And unlike the previous universes that we've thrown Z-Team in, where they can kind of survive without having to fight the absolute strongest, Invincible is a universe that's doomed to be invaded by the Viltrumites. So Z-Team will have no choice but to engage with these characters, and they just won't be able to win. It'll be super duper one-sided. Best case scenario, Malvolia can, like, give her sword to somebody, and then that sword can be used to negate durability and just kill all the fucking Viltrumites with a single slash, and problem fucking solved, I guess. Maybe. Because Malvolia can't do anything about it. She'd need to give it to someone way faster, way stronger, and someone who preferably can fly. But yeah, that sword would be like one of the strongest shit you could possibly have in the Invincible universe. That'd be a broken ass sword. A sword that can open up portals to teleport and cut through people, immediately negating their durability, that would be amazing. That'd be so broken. But yeah, overall, I think Z Team lose this one. But that's gonna be all from me. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, join the membership, and hype the video. Don't forget to do that. Algorithm likes all of those things. On the screen right now, you should see, I don't know, YouTube sometime craps out, but if it's not crapping out, you should see 4 videos on the screen right now. Click on one of those 4 videos, and the algorithm also really likes that. So, you know, do that. That would be cool. Thank you. And always remember, y'all stay safe out there, you hear?